much. We'll work on that introduction to make it a little bit stronger in the future, but happy Valentine's Day, everybody. This is our Wednesday Q&A webinar. My partner Dan's not here today, so I'm going to be driving you through this, through our product, through our latest release, the functionality that is present within. First of all, can you guys hear me okay? Give me another message in our question box if you can hear me okay and you can see my screen. Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. All right, so let's just quickly get through the disclaimer. Trade Ideas, we are a software technology firm. We are not a registered investment advisor. So the symbols, the stocks, securities that I'm going to be talking about today should not be construed as investment advice. I don't know anything about your financial situation. If you do want someone to recommend securities based upon your financial situation, your risk portfolio, then you'll want to seek out a registered investment advisor. That said, here at Trade Ideas, like I said initially, we're a technology company. 15 years ago, we started this firm with the idea that we wanted to create the best technology out there to help you, well, really to help us find the best stocks out there, the things that are moving, the stocks that give you as a trader the opportunity to participate in very, very large, significant moves. So at Trade Ideas, the technology that we've created sits there and it listens to every single stock, every single print of every single stock. We know what's normal behavior for all stocks in all different time frames, not only from a price action perspective, how much it moves every 5 minutes, 15 minutes, hour, half hour, you know, all of those different time frames. We know how much volume is normally present. How much social activity is present, how much option volume, all these different details. We keep these statistical baselines, so when something really interesting happens, we have technology that can deliver to you these ideas in real time. So I'm going to just kind of minimize. I'll get back to the PowerPoint and we'll go through the presentation, but really the gist of this is an interactive webinar. I'm going to spend the first, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes kind of talking about the product, talking about where we started, the different windows that are present, the different visualization components that we have here, and I'll try to differentiate for you the differences that we have between the standard and the premium, because we do a lot of continual effort, and we don't, all the new effort doesn't just go into the premium, so we do add new stuff to the standard version all the time as well. I did post in the chat box prior to the start of this, the release of the latest version. Are you guys able to, since I did that before we actually started the webinar, are you guys able to see that link? It's a Dropbox link. So let me see. All right, let me go ahead and, just to start off, I'm going to just make sure that you guys have access to that. Oh, so you do see it. You don't see it. I've got mixed results. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in the latest release that we have here, just so that you guys, this is going to be going out tomorrow, but it does have our latest bug fixes and the latest enhancements in it. So 1 second. All right, so I just placed it in the chat, so you guys should be able to see that. So yeah, you can just download that at your convenience. All right, so to start off, this is Trade Ideas Pro. We offer this product here in a downloadable application as well as a web version. So it's accessible from an iPad, a phone, as well as from your computer. The computer is going to be the most robust experience of the tool. When we started off, we had just a single window. Over the last 14, 15 years, we've really created a platform, a variety of different visualization windows, like an alert window. Let me go ahead and bring in one of our channels here that has a variety of different, let's bring in the active trading channel. And the reason why I'm going to the active trading channel is because it has a variety of different windows already on it. It is one of our more sophisticated channels, but it gives you a really good idea of some of the configurations and setups that you can perform with Trade Ideas. So inside of this particular channel, I have a variety of different Trade Ideas windows, and these windows are all differentiated by this icon in the upper left hand corner. I've got charts at the top, and then I've got windows with an A. The windows with an A give you, they're what we call an alert window. And it's an event-based notification window. So when something's happening and you want to be notified of that, this is the type of window that you're going to use. Something making a new high, crossing above a resistance, a moving average crossover, something in that fashion right there. And then we have other windows like top list windows. And through the years, we started adding these different visualization techniques. The top list window is a ranked list, essentially, based upon the filters that you have configured in it. And there's so many different things that you can do with that. You can do something really basic like give me the top gainers for the day. But then you can do some other sophisticated stuff like, give me the stocks that have moved up the most on stocks that are down a lot, or stocks that have pulled back the most on really big gainers. Different ways that you can paint a picture and offer that information through these windows. So those are our two most popular windows. But then we have this other derivative window. It's our multi-strategy window. And the multi-strategy window is very much like an alert window, but it allows you to put in, I don't know, as many different strategies as you want inside of a single window. So because as a trader, the real estate is so important to you, instead of having 20 different alert windows like this window right here, I can drop all of those into a single container in this window. So for instance, when I right click, and by the way, on any of our windows, everything is all right click sensitive, context sensitive menu. So I'm right clicking here and hovering over strategy, and you can see all the different strategies that are present in this one window. So if a stock's making a 52-week low or a 52-week high on high volume, it's going to appear here in this window. So just another way to visualize that. When we started off, we really required our users to go in and configure everything. It was a little cumbersome for new people and a little arduous for people to kind of get started. But what we've since done is we've created this channel bar. This channel bar is like a remote control to the market, if you will. It has a variety of different customized workspaces and layouts that we've put together type of visual look. But moreover than that, also for people that are kind of advancing through the learning curve of trade ideas, it's also a roadmap. It's an educational roadmap really to show you how to configure your own type of strategy. So you could absolutely use trade ideas right out of the box like we have it with the channel bar. But if you want to customize it and make it your own, you can always take any one of these windows that we've made, go into the right-click configuration menu and customize it. Maybe you only want to trade stocks that have a maximum price of $30. Maybe the average daily volume should only be a certain price. Well, it's really easy to do that through this point-and-click configuration menu. So I could just say the maximum price is $30. Another thing is you can see exactly how we set these windows up. What filters did we use? And you can see how we configured it. We also give you a lot of different help techniques with respect to the different filters that are in the system, as well as the different alerts. So here, this is just that up gapper window, and I just modified it. So now I'm not going to see any particular stocks that are greater than $30. You can then take this layout and save it as your own, or mix some of these windows with your own windows and really create a workspace that's very custom to you. So let's make sure I'm hitting all these different windows that we have. So I touched on the alert, the top list, multi-strategy. We've got this single stock window down here. And again, every one of these components in trade ideas is customizable. I've made the determination that these are the different filters that I want to see on this window. But again, right click in it, go to configure, and you can go ahead and really define how you want this window to look. And if you want to keep it present, like for instance, if I want to keep this particular window visible to me, as I go into look at other particular channels, I just right-clicked and I selected the pinned. Now let's kind of consider this pinned to my desktop. And now if I was to go into one of the other channels, this particular window is going to retain. It's going to remain on my desktop. And it's what I have here with my price alert window. That is pinned as well. And I'll talk about the price alert in a little bit. So with the standard subscription, you get up to 10 different charts. And recently we've added analytics to the chart. So if you right click, you can see the different analytics and indicators that you can add to it. The most recent release, we've added VWAP to it. So you can now add VWAP onto your chart. So that's a pretty nice little feature that we've added there. Another thing is the compare count window. So let's just see if we can pop open a compare count. This is a pretty cool window. I'll just use the default settings and then I'll go back and talk a little bit about what it's doing. So it might not be as interesting here, after hours because there's just not as much data going through. But with this particular window right here, I can set up two different strategies, two competing strategies. And for the purpose of this example, this is really new highs and new lows. Let's make sure that I'm using, post-market. I've got post-market highs on here as well. So what it's doing is it's giving me a real-time look, how many stocks are making highs compared to how many stocks are making lows. And it gives you a really nice breadth indicator during the market. And a lot of people use this in a couple of different ways. So you can keep kind of an aggregate total of how many stocks are making highs to how many stocks are making lows from the beginning of looking at this. But other people use this to kind of clear it after a while or duplicate it. So now I'm going to be starting fresh here on this window on the right, but this window here on the left is going to be giving me that cumulative look at the stocks since I started the window. So a couple different ways you can use this, but it's a nice indicator during the day, and I oftentimes use this particular this bar right here to determine whether I think it's a good time to enter in to a long position or a short position. All right, so that's pretty much for to talking about the standard. Let's talk about some of the things that we've incorporated into the premium that really makes it cool. So I'm going to start off by talking about the AI, and I'll then kind of go into the odds maker, which is really the back testing technology that we use inside of the AI. It's what the AI uses to optimize its strategies every day. So I'm going to go to the AI channel, and the AI channel, first of all, we put together at Trade Ideas, we put together about 40 different base strategies. About 2/3 of these strategies are long, 1/3 of these strategies are short. And a base strategy is a concept, if you will. And all of these different concepts have names. Like, for instance, this particular window right here is my strategies window. So it's letting me know what strategies were available today. So these names can be like buyer stepping in, Count de Monet, Mighty Mouse. All of these bases, like I said, have a particular theme. Something is similar happening to each one of the trades that happens in each one of these strategies. After the market every single day, we use the backtesting AI tool to go through, well, we don't do it, but it's set up automatically to go through each one of these strategies, look at today's data, look at the historical data, and see if there's a better way to approach that strategy by looking at all the different filters that are available in Trade Ideas. Relative volume, 5-minute volume, where it is from its pivot point, its resistance one. I mean, we have hundreds of different filters in here. So it looks at all of these filters and it runs millions of hypothetical trades to see exactly how it would have done if you would have made these adjustments to the filters. So it does that every day, and then at the end of the day, it puts all of these different optimized strategies in a pool, and it looks at a variety of different metrics in these strategies. So each one of these strategies after the optimization is going to have a certain win percentage. It's going to have a certain profit factor, which is really the sum total of all the winning trades over the sum total of all the losing trades. So essentially what we do is, and we call this the quantitative combine, we go through and it only picks the strategies that have certain win percentages. Typically it's over 59%. And it then only picks certain strategies that have a minimum profit factor. And what we're left with are these particular strategies for today. So these were the strategies that we came in with today. There weren't any trades when we started the day, but as the day went on, it definitely called out a variety of different signals. And I'll see if I can expand this so we can see everything that it called out. I'll talk a little bit about the AI channel here, but then I'll go in a little more to how these strategies really do get optimized. And it's really through the odds maker, a tool which you would have access to as a premium subscriber. So let me go ahead and just sort this right here on the entry time. So these were all the stocks that were called today with Holly. Holly is our AI, and it's making these calls in real time. When a signal is identified as a long or short opportunity, it's going to send it. Well, let me go ahead and shrink this back up. It's going to send it to the open trades window right here. So the very first symbol that came through was VIPS, and that was at 6:47. I'm on the West Coast. We start at 6:30. So about 17 minutes after the market opened, we received our first signal, and it was right here. Now, this particular trade right here, let's pull it up on the chart so we can take a look at really what happened here today. So in VIPS, now you can see we have some color annotations on the chart. Now, these are special to signals that are called through the AI. You can see this blue arrow identifying the candle that VIPS was called with this particular strategy, strong stock pulling back. So we have some, I don't know if this is going to come through very well through the web sharing software, but this gradient right here, I've got some dark green gradient and light gradient. The dark green gradient is what we call the stock trading in a risk-off mode. And this gets kind of confusing, I guess, if you're joining me for this first time, but every one of these strategies is really set to be entered in for a particular time period. So the buyer stepping in may only be a 1-hour trade. So what's going to happen, however, is that we're keeping track of that trade, and if something happens in that, for instance, if the stock happens to go up and then pull back too fast, we'll get out of that trade. Or if the stock happens to run down and hit a stop, we'll get out of that trade. But alternately, there's also that time stop. And here, this happened to be a trade, and this looks like it was a 45-minute trade. And you can see where that trade ended through the dark green. But if you were to hold on to that trade for the entire day, and this is what we call a risk-on trade, something that is going to mature through the entire day, that's going to be what your risk-on profit is, and you can see the lighter green taking you all the way to the end of the day. We give you profit targets, we give you stop losses, so it's very, very easy to see what your risk is when that signal is called. And it's really important to adhere to that. This is a rule-following machine. Now, as a trader, we're giving you these suggestions, but you can do anything that you want. We're just suggesting that based upon statistics, the historical analysis of this data, 1 hour is the optimal time to hold it. But as a trader, you know that depending upon what the market's doing, this just may be it's a roadmap, right? And you need to make those ultimate decisions on how long you want to go ahead and hold that. So let's go through some of these different trades. Today was a great day in the AI. There were some fantastic signals that were called, not only fantastic trades from a dollar perspective, but some great percentage moves that, like if I was to just sort this here on the risk on percentage, so I can see the stocks that had the greatest risk on, let's pull up SRNE. This is probably our best trade today. And if you happen to pick it up when it was initially called, buyer stepping in, the buyer stepping in on this particular pullback right here, you can see the AI annotation. This is where the signal is called. We gave you the stop loss visually as well as numerically here. And this was the move throughout the day. You can see the post-market behavior here inside of the purple opaque color on the chart. So we're giving you not only, this is what the risk off was when you were to get out of this particular trade on the timed exit. So this was a 1 hour hold for the buyer stepping in, getting out right here. That was a suggestion. A lot of times those suggestions are maybe take a little bit off the table, but if the market's strong and continuing to push upwards, you have to make a good judgment call on whether you should be holding that for a longer period of time. And that's really the art of trading, my friends. That's what really separates people being able to really pull some alpha out of the marketplace. So let's go on to a few other ones. This happened to be a 4.6% gainer. That's a great gainer, EPZM. And again, we can see it visually here. This was a similar type of chart pattern. You can see, let me zoom in, and I'm going to hold the control key down and use my mouse wheel so I can get a closer look at what's happening here. You can see the candle that the signal was called, kind of similar to the last trade in SRNE, the pullback, buyer stepping in, and you had an opportunity to make some good profit in a very, very short period of time, or you could have hung on through the day and it would have done very, very nicely for you. VIPS, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. And I really like it when a particular signal is called that's not putting you in the negative for too long, right? So you're not sitting there hoping that you can get back to positive. You know, the idea here is to really put yourself in a position to be profitable. So at the end of the day, or whatever your time horizon is, you can make that determination whether this is a stock that you want to hold for multiple days, or give it a shot to continue holding this thing. So even though we're making intraday suggestions to you, it's ultimately up to you to decide, you know, what type of time horizon should you trade. I was just looking at Shop here. This was this was something that back in, and when was this? Back in January of last year, this thing was called out as a buy. And, you know, obviously hindsight, you look and go, this is a great opportunity in trade. But as a trader, you have to make that decision as to how long you want to hold something like this and tie your capital into that particular position. So guys, I'm going to probably go maybe another 10 minutes or so, and then I will take some personal questions from you. I know Barry's doing a great job trying to keep up, and but if he doesn't get to you, I definitely will. So I want to do this. I mean, I could go through all these different AI trades. You can see that they were, you know, pretty successful from a percentage as well as the dollar perspective. This is not out of the norm. You know, we did have quite a few trades today. I go up here, I can see we had 27 signals that we offered out. I think on average, they're usually between maybe 12 and 15 signals that are generated. So this is a little bit more of an active day, but you can tell, I guess on average too, we usually have about 6 or 7 strategies that make the cut. So today we're a lot more strategies, and as a result of that, I would expect, and as it did happen, we had more trades that hit the blotter today. Let's do a little bit of, let me show you a little bit of the odds maker here. I'm going to pull a strategy from my cloud. Got a really big cloud. It's bloated with strategies, so it takes a while. Let me load up like this power hour long here. I'm going to load it up. This does happen to be one of the AI strategies. I'm not sure if it was a strategy from today, but this is a strategy. On any alert window, you have the ability to backtest it. So I'm going to right click, go to backtest, and this power hour strategy, the first area that we have the ability to do some input is telling it when can we initiate a trade. So the power hour strategy is really starts in the last hour of the market and gives you a 30-minute window to enter into a trade, and that's what we're indicating right here. We close at 1 o'clock West Coast time, so you can see we're starting an hour before, ending a half hour before. Here's where we tell it how long we want to hold that particular position. So ideally, if I don't get stopped out, if I don't hit my profit target, I'm going to hold this position for 30 minutes. This is where I can put in a profit target. I can put in a stop loss. Smart Stop's an algorithm, looks at the stock's volatility, its range for the day, its relative volume, and it's an algorithm for the stop. So a stock that's trading big volume today is probably going to have a little bigger stop today than normal, for instance. How many days do I want to test this? We can test up to 3 months of data, so 1 quarter of data. 20 days are in a trading month. So let's simulate the buy, and I'll show you kind of the data that's generated, and then what you can do as someone that's crafting these strategies and how you can modify it. So we give you some numerical data here. How's the profit factor? How many trades were present in the strategy? Average winner to loser ratio. Some hypotheticals here. How do you want to trade this? Do you want to trade it on a dollar value, $10,000 increments for every trade, or 200 shares for every trade? You can make that determination, put in a commission per share. We used to call it slippage, and it can be considered that. There's another way to do it from a commission structure. So you put these hypotheticals in here, let you know that with this strategy, trading $10,000 increments, I could do this with 3-to-1 margin. If I had a 4-to-1 margin account, I could trade this without a problem. Equity curve lets me know how I would do had I traded every single instance of a signal that was generated. But the real power of this, and I could spend hours here on the odds maker, the real power is the optimization tab. So as I go to the optimization tab, we give you an idea of what we can do with it. So the price tab. this right here, I have it set for interval of 10. So every one of these increments is going to be $10. So 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. And this lets me know, how did this strategy perform with these various increments? So stocks that were between 0 and $10, I didn't do very good. My profit factor was less than 1. I won only 30% of the time. So for me, if I was to trade the strategy and try to optimize it, I'd say I don't want to trade anything less than $10. I could break it into $5 increments to see if that's really the case. And boy, I look at this and go, well, maybe I don't want to trade anything less than $15. So using that example right there for price, I can do that for time of day. Remember, we're doing this for the last hour of the day, trading day, and up to 30 minutes before the close. So this is the analysis of that. So it's a pretty small window of opportunity. But if I hit this other filters area right here, and I've set this software up properly, there's a little trick that you have to do it. But once you set it up properly, you're going to have access to all the different filters that we have in the software. And with access to this, I can go through my strategy and look and see, it takes this strategy that I have, and I'm looking at the 1 minute RSI. When the 1 minute RSI is above 90, I didn't do very good. Remember, that's already an optimized strategy, so I'm not going to find a lot of weakness in it, but I could very easily, and the technique to do that, I would just right click right here, right click right here, and I'm going to set the max value of the 1 minute RSI to 79.99. Now it's going to bring up the configuration, and I could go ahead and change that if I wanted to change it to like 85. You know, I can do that. And that right there, if I was to run this odds maker again, this value, this trade right here, if I click on it, I can see exactly what that trade is. FORK would not be present right here, and it wouldn't be present because the RSI at the time of the signal was above 90. So that's, and I think if I click on it, I can see exactly what the RSI was. The RSI was 98.69. Pretty high RSI, but you know, I'm not suggesting you would do that for a single trade, but that's the data that you get, and you can go through all the different filters. And I'm just hitting the down arrow now once I highlighted this particular field up here, and now I'm just going to cycle through, you know, all the different trades. This is telling me right here that if the range of this particular stock over the last 120 minutes was greater than 8%, then these were the results that I experienced on these 6 trades. So very, very powerful stuff. And we put a computer onto this to really solve the problem of this. And you know, you could spend hours and hours and hours and hours, and you can come up with some great stuff. But to do 40 different strategies every day, I'd have to hire a team of people, and they'd probably go crazy in the process. So one more thing here. Let me touch on one more thing before I take some questions from you guys. I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple things. So price alerts. This is one of my favorite features, and it's really one of the more simple ones, but when you're an experienced trader, I think it's probably one of the most valuable things, because when you see something, you know what you like, you know what about those characteristics entice you. And so, for instance, the price alert allows me to take a look very quickly at this particular longer term chart and short term chart to say, if a stock gets up in this area right here, I want to be notified of it. I want to be able to know that this is happening and make a decision as to whether I want to participate in the move or not. So I'm going to go ahead and just right click here. I get lazy now and I don't even type notes, because when something pops up, I just click on it and I look at it. But so you can type a note in here and then hit save. And what happens is this blue line identifier is letting you know that we have a price alert saved. So it's on the server. You can move away. You could go look to other symbols. But when that threshold gets crossed, I'm going to know it. Something's going to pop up. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to see it, and then I can decide whether I want to participate in that or not. So that's a real super powerful feature, and you get 10 of them with standard. You get 500 of those with the premium version. And then let me get over to Brokerage Plus, because we've done some great work on this particular tool recently and really had some good fixes to it. There are a few bugs that were kind of standing out, and I think that we've hit on a good portion of those. This is a tool right here that allows you to, well, it works right now, it works only with Interactive Brokers. So if you have an Interactive Brokers account, you can utilize this tool here to not only automate strategies that you create, but you can use it to really set up a right-click trade menu. Like, it's just a right-click trade menu, and it's really, really easy to get into a position. So once you've connected this to either Interactive Brokers Trader Workstation, which is their trading product, or you can also connect it to their gateway, which is, it's not really a trading tool, but it connects to their API. Either one of those allows you to directly connect to your IB account and then trade from that. So for instance, once I'm connected, and I'm connected right now to the IB gateway, that's this little tool right here, I can just right click on any one of my windows, whether it's a top list, alert window, multi-strategy, an AI window, and I can right click and I can just trade using this menu structure right here. And this menu is fully configurable inside of Brokerage Plus. So this is Brokerage Plus. That menu was derived from the different strategies that are present right here. And so that's the right click trade type of menus. But you can also take a strategy that you create and just automate it. So once you create that alert window, you can just drop it in here and it'll automate it for you. So I did that earlier today, and I think it was on this power hour long. There were a couple trades that just happened to go off. And here, this is how it shows you, and it tells you what strategy it was triggered out of. And it's really a great, not only black box trading tool, but a great gray box trading tool, because it's fantastic to get you into a position. And then if you're a little bit more sophisticated as a trader, then you can actually manage that position after it gets you in. It can still do a lot of the automation for you as far as maintaining that stop and the profit target. But if you want to extend the stop, or you want to extend the time stop, or cancel any of those, you can do that and kind of take full control. So you can be on autopilot, or you can kind of take the controls into your own hands and do it how you wish. So that's kind of a cool feature. And this is really it's starting to get a lot of traction with our user base, and it's something that everybody should be aware of. This is available as a premium feature also. So I think let me look right here. I think I kind of ran through my list of things I wanted to at least hit on. So let me kind of peek on over here to this question panel and see if there was something that maybe Barry didn't get to, or if you guys have some questions now that maybe you want me to show you on the screen, or I'd be more than happy to do that. So Pedro, I unfortunately can't give you the power hour long and short, and I didn't mean to tease you guys with that. I just wanted to kind of illustrate and tie into the AI. And the reason is that we don't give out the AI strategies, because tomorrow, if the power hour long strategy appears, I promise you it'll be different than today's power hour strategy. It'll have the same concept, it'll have the same alert, but the filters could be quite different. Not totally different, but definitely different. And that's the reason why we don't do that. So Megan, I do have a video with respect to Brokerage Plus and using it. But what I do recommend for everybody, I mean, this is I'm connected right now to a paper trading account, and that's how I would suggest everybody transitions into utilizing the Brokerage Plus tool. So with IB, if you have a real account, you just let them know that you want to have a paper trading account. I think they automatically offer it to you. And with that, you can sit there and experiment. We do have like I said, that video, and I'm almost certain there's a user guide available. You can send an email to info@trade-ideas.com and we'll get that out to you. But experiment with the demo version, and that's going to get you set up for the live. So Sirius is asking about our charts have moving averages, and yes, our recent charts, we've given the ability to add moving averages, both simple moving average as well as exponential moving averages to the chart. And once you set it up, you can save it as your default chart, so it's always going to come up that way. On all the different channels, or most of the channels, I've set up a 13-period EMA and a 50-period SMA. So Marcia's asking, tomorrow, let's just say she has time to trade for 1 hour. Can I suggest a simple scanner set up for scalp plays. Well, Marcia, I'm not going to do that, but I think that what I would suggest for you is that spend a little bit of time in our trading room. Let me go ahead and pull that up, because our trading room, it's moderated by Barry, and he does a great job showing best practices with trade ideas. So not only is he trading in real time and offering his candor on the market and what he's doing personally with his own money, but he's showing you how to do it with trade ideas. And he's also sharing windows. He's offering you his expertise and sharing them through this great technique that we have called cloud links. So with a cloud link, he can take any window that he's created and just give you a little link, and you can drop that into your software, and you're going to have access to that very same strategy. So I'm not going to give you a strategy to trade, but that's my recommendation for you. So, okay, Wave, I'll go through a quick process. So Wave's asking, can I right-click strategies? They can all be changed and augmented, but we're talking about automation right now. And with automation, the best thing to do is either build a strategy already or do it inside of Brokerage Plus. I think building it already is a little bit better. So here's what I do. Let's say I have this power hour long strategy right here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save it to the cloud. Okay, so I've saved it to my cloud right here. So I'm going to go ahead and close it right now. Now I'm inside of the Strategies tab of Brokerage Plus, and I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to go Load from Cloud. It's already in my clipboard, so it's right there. I could also grab it. These are both the same thing. So if I hit Load here, I'm just going to go ahead and it found one strategy. I'm going to add to the existing. So there it is right here, the Power Hour Long. I could right-click on it, and I can edit it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's edit it, and this pulls up the trading instructions. It's kind of similar to the odds maker instruction set, a little bit different though. So right here, this is where I can define what that strategy is. So if I want to make a change to it, I can go into configure, and it works just like I was working on the alert window right here. And I could change my filters, change the alert, do whatever I want right here. So once I have that strategy, I can then set up the accounts that I want to use it in. If I have multiple accounts, I can set it up, or I can set up an allocation profile if I do have multiple accounts. But right here, this is where we define, when I can initiate a trade, very much like the odds maker initiate a trade screen. Then I have a few more parameters right here that give me some thresholds on how many entry orders I can possibly send or how many orders will get filled. And then I define how I want to go ahead and put that trade out to the market. Do I want to do it based on a fixed dollar value or based on a share quantity? This is where I put that in there. How do I want to put that to the market? A limit order or a market order, and then a limit with a delta. So let's say the stock is trading $50 and I put a delta of -5 cents right here. That means I'm going to be bidding that stock for $50.05. So different ways to approach the entry of that. Put my stop loss target. Once you have that all set up with your timed exit, if you want to have that, you just hit OK. It's off right now. All I need to do is right click on it and I can enable the strategy. So now it's enabled, and anytime a signal comes through for that strategy, it's going to send an order first. And if that order gets filled, it'll appear here on my position tab. And just kind of like our AI window where we're monitoring the profitability of the AI throughout the day, we're doing the same thing here for your portfolio. So you can see exactly how profitable you've been through the day. So I hope that answered your question. All right, so Pedro's asking about options trading. And I wouldn't say that options data manipulation is the trade idea's strength, but we do some really good stuff with some of the basic options data. Let me bring in, I probably passed it. There's our options channel. So I'm going to select the options channel, and it'll just give me an opportunity to highlight the options volume today percentage field. So that seems to be, to me, the most valuable piece of options data that we have. And like I said earlier in the presentation, we really create these statistical baselines on all these different data points on all time frames. Well, what we're doing here with options data is we're comparing the number of option contracts today, comparing that to normal. So when something has a lot of option contracts, we're going to get that appearing right here on this particular window through this particular filter. So we also have the number of calls, the number of puts, put-call ratio, the number of option contracts traded today. But I think this options volume today percentage is really the most powerful. It mimics quite a bit, not entirely, but this relative volume right here. You know, you can see it's not exactly right, but the relative volume is one of my favorite filters in Trade Ideas because it looks at volume, and it looks at the volume at this particular point in time, whatever time that is, and it gives you a real simple ratio letting you know how much volume is happening compared to normal. So a value of 5 is 500% or 5 times its normal volume. So that's really significant. When you start getting into the 10 and 20 and 40, I mean, this is crazy volume compared to normal. But you know, you also see pretty high volume with respect to the options as well. So how do you know if you're going long or short? So Pedro, I'm not sure whether you're asking about the Brokerage Plus. If you're asking about the Brokerage Plus, you have the ability, so this power hour long right here, if I edit it and I go to the very top part of it, I've got my strategy configuration, but I can tell it here whether I'm going to go long or go short. I think that's what you're talking about. No hotkeys yet for Brokerage Plus, but I do have hot buttons. They're not configurable, but you can highlight one or more positions, you know, with the control or with the shift key in Windows, and then you can select one of the hot buttons here to double or half your position. So, I mean, with respect to the options, you want to know if they're going long or going short. You can see exactly how the stock is up for the day or down for the day. You can see how many calls compared to puts there are. Those are the different data points that you can use for that. So Marcia's asking about the lag for an alert. I don't know. I don't think there's much of a lag. It's really sub-second data that we're sending. So if a new high is made, you're going to get that high within a second. Now the top list windows are a little bit different. The top list windows right here, these guys update every 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds, I'm going to refresh this particular list with new data. All right, Sirius is asking about linking to third-party platforms. We do a great job of linking to third-party platforms. I think the one product that we don't do a great job linking to, although it does work, is Thinkorswim. Like, let me show you. I'm gonna show you on Realtic here because it's really similar on a lot of different platforms. So let me just load this one up. So Dan's asking about 4.2.24. That is a beta release. All right, so this is Realtic over here on the right. To go ahead and link, what we do is we go up to the tools area right here. We go to external linking. I'm going to add a link. And every program has a little nuance of what to do. Realtic is pretty easy, and all I need to do is bring my cursor over to this symbol field where I would type in a symbol in the platform, and then I press and release the shift key. And when I do that, this is all going to change. So right now I'm going to do that. It linked to it, and I'm going to use, I think with Realtic, I use the alternate method. I think I could also come down here and find real tick and hit OK. And once I've done that, if I click on a symbol here, and I can close this, I don't need to have that open, it's going to update the trade ideas charts, but it's also going to update the real tick charts or the news or any of the other window components that I have. So the external linking, and you have to do that anytime you close either one of these two programs, but setting up the linking, like after you've done it once or twice, really just takes 5 seconds to do. So yeah, now Sirius is asking if each one of the windows can be, of the platform can be separately linked. So no, the answer is not. They're all linked to the same pattern, although you can have multiple links set up. For instance, if I go to my external linking here, I can also set up another link to another platform if I wanted to. If I had e-signal or something like that and I wanted to have all of them change when I click on a symbol, I could do that. So Wave is asking if I can halt trading for a day based on dollar profit target. That functionality has not yet made its way into the system. So Dan, the linking works well with Thinkorswim. There's a focusing issue with respect to that program. So by that I mean, once you set up the linking, if you start clicking around inside of Thinkorswim, you just have to click on one window before you go off into trade ideas again to kind of retain where that focus should be. It's unfortunate, but we can't control other products, and we just do the best that we can to be able to facilitate that linking. So Realtek is just a product by, they've changed hands a couple times. I think Easy owns them. But it's an order management trading platform. Townsend Analytics used to be the, well, they were the creator of it. It's been around forever. So guys, I may have missed a question or two, but if there's something that I didn't get to, feel free to fire it back in here. So Dina is asking about the volume confirmation that is seen specifically on the VWAP alert, and he doesn't want to see the volume confirmation. And I understand that, Dina. I've actually got had some internal discussions regarding the volume confirmation, not just specific to the VWAP, but also I think the moving average cross does also require that. Initially, we did it for a reason. It was so that you wouldn't get all kinds of noise when this cross occurred, but it does kind of present a problem, and I have brought that back into our development cycle. So that's something that we'll look back into with respect to removing or minimizing that requirement of volume for it. So I appreciate where you're coming from. So Pedro's asking about the Brokerage Plus. I don't know if I closed it. Maybe not. Here it is. Specific to setting up something inside or outside the market. So let me go back to this power hour long strategy. I'm going to edit it. And it's right now it's set up for a limit order. Now this is a long trade, right? So because I have a limit offset of negative, I'm willing to go inside of the market. So that means that if I'm putting, if that triggers at a price of $50, putting a negative 0.05 will put my buy at $50.05. If I'm selling this and I'm going short, it's going to subtract 5 cents to it. So I'm going to be short selling the stock at $49.95. So Marsh is asking an interesting question. Do we have data on the most popular channels used? And Barry, we actually do have that data. It's really interesting. So I don't know how fair it is to have, because our default channel is set up to be the social channel. So the social channel happens to be the most widely used channel, but also the pre-market is highly used, and the alpha predator is another one that's highly used. Search channel is another really big one. And normally what I do is that the ones that are used more often than not kind of make their way and kind of find their way towards the top of the list. But don't let that discourage you from experiencing the other themes that we have set up. You know, there's a lot of great stuff here. So you may look at the, start off looking at the pre-market channel right here just to find the stocks that are gapping and moving. But as the day starts to move on, come on down to the trade the gap channel to find ways to extract alpha off of these stocks that have gapped and may either be filling that gap or reversing out of that fill. So, a lot of different ways. I can't say there's one particular thing, but, pre-market is something that everybody typically goes to just to get that flavor. During the day, it's kind of to each his own, really. Thanks, Stephen. I appreciate that tip right there for the Thinkorswim workaround. That's awesome. Thank you very much. So Kirk, I can't show you how to link to Thinkorswim only because I don't have that platform on my desktop and I don't have a login for it. But if you aren't able to do it, send an email to info@TradeIdeas. My guys have great remote control software, so they can pop onto your desktop, show you in 5 minutes how to do it, and then you kind of send you back to doing what you were doing. Michael's asking about price alerts on the web version. Let me pop in the web version right now. Specifically asking about those price alerts, and they're not available yet. That is on our product roadmap for sure to be able to be adding those. So you're going to find tremendous similarities between the application and the web version, but there are still just a couple bits of functionality that haven't quite made it. We're redoing the charting inside of the web version to accommodate some of the AI annotations that we place on there. And we also do other things other than AI annotations. We're also giving you a clear indication based upon that stock's volatility, its range, its volume, what a good, safe smart stop would be. So when you're entering into a stock, if you see a smart stop is really far down, it's letting you know that there's a lot of volatility present in that stock. And we're also giving you an anticipated profit target, which right now is just set at 2 times that smart stop. We did recently add the AI channel to the web version. So that has recently made its way here. So Heatwave is asking about a video showing linking. I've got a lot of different videos. They're all really kind of specific to the particular product. You could Google it and see if it comes up with the trade ideas and the product that you're talking about. Or you can just send us an email and we can either send you the documentation or a video if we have it. Yeah, so for the IB gateway, Rob is asking about how to set up the IB gateway. And I think if you just go to Interactive Brokers and download the IB gateway, you log in with your very same username and password, but this is the tool right here. I don't have charts, I don't have a lot of the overhead that's present in Trader Workstation, which, while it's a nice program, it's big, man. It's a large program. So this is a little bit more streamlined to have that. And then when you're logging in, the one thing that you just need to be aware of, let me see if I can find my Brokerage Plus. Let me disconnect here and I'll show you the process of logging in. So you just go to connect right here. You can see that the engineering circuit is disconnected. So I want to connect it and I'm just going to go ahead and select the format that I'm using right here. So this is IB Gateway Paper. It's not the live one. I'm just going to use the default client ID and you can see the circuit gets connected. Once it gets connected, everything kind of populates inside of here. So Megan's asking about level 2. No level 2. That would be the reason why you may not want to use the gateway and you may want to keep Trader Workstation open. That's typically you're going to be getting that data through your platform provider for your brokerage. Yeah, so Marcia, with respect to our training, that's one of the, well, it's actually getting ready to change. So I think well, Scott may be able to address that when we come on, but we're going to be moving more towards a group training, just because I just don't have the bodies to accommodate the number of new signups that we've had. So this is something that we will be changing a little bit moving forward. But you can sign up directly on the website right now. This may be the last day to do it. Scott will let us know. Thanks for the offer, Dino. You can send a resume to info@Trade Ideas. So yeah, Raul, Brokerage Plus, it can do the automated trading for you. I have a lot of guys that are doing it more and more each month. This has been a tool that we've kept in beta so that while it's in beta, we're not charging for it. We're just kind of keeping it under the guise of premium. At some point in the future, when we pull this out of beta, this will be an extra charge. It won't be for people that are premium subscribers prior to it. It's kind of like we do everything. You know, we're getting ready to raise rates tomorrow, but we grandfather everybody in. We don't raise our current subscribers' rates. I've got people that are paying, I mean, don't get mad, but people are paying $38 a month for this tool. And it's just because they haven't canceled their membership with us. And, you know, we really do appreciate people that have been with us, and very, very happy to offer a subscription at that level. And it shows just great loyalty. So we're never stopping doing what we're doing. We're a bunch of people that really enjoy getting in here and creating this technology. So. No, Marcia, I don't think the $99 an hour individual training is going away. I think that will remain. I wish I had the definitive answer for you, but I think it will remain. All right, guys, so we've hit up against our hour. I'm gonna bring Scott back in. He does a much better job of explaining some of the details of our price change and all that good stuff. So, hey, Scott, are you back with us?
Yeah, hey, thank you. Why don't you go ahead and pull that up, and we will talk about the important things. Okay, so we have a price change that is occurring at midnight tonight. Most of you should know about this if you've been paying attention to our messaging for the last several weeks. Prices are going up by approximately 20% across the board. If you are already in a subscription before that price change goes into effect, you remain at the same price you've been recurring at, or you entered the subscription at, as long as your subscription's active. So now is a really great time to lock in the 2017 rates before we move into the 2018 rates. And good news, this is also a big sale going on right now for Valentine's Day. So use the code LOVECHANGE, all caps, and you'll save 23%. Off your first month or year of Trade Ideas. And you can download a handout of this information by opening the handouts section. If you go to webinar interface, there's a little panel there that says handouts. Just expand that and download the handout. And that also contains this slide as well. So use this before midnight tonight to save 23%, and also get in on the 2017 rates at the same time. So compared to what you'll be paying tomorrow, this is a huge savings. It's in effect basically almost like 40% over what you'd be paying tomorrow for anything. So go ahead and take advantage of this now if you are considering becoming a Trade Ideas subscriber, and lock that rate in. We still have people paying $40 a month that subscribed to us 5 or 6 years ago. So, you know, the price change thing is real, but we have been adding lots of features. So take advantage of this before midnight. Thanks, Brad. We'll have a recording of this up later on tonight or tomorrow night, later on tonight or by tomorrow morning. Yeah, there is another code that's good this month, but you'll be paying a lot more than what that discounts tomorrow. So we'll be talking about that code next week. Any questions, email us, info@trade-ideas.com. If you have Twitter, follow Dan Merkin at Trade Ideas 1. Follow us at Trade Ideas. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Trade Ideas Pro. All right, thanks everyone.
It's available.
Brad, the recording will be up later on tonight or tomorrow morning. Any questions, email info@trade-ideas.com.